Oh, Jesus. Where did you come from? I did not hear you come in, and you're really tall up there. So pardon me, I didn't see you come in. My name is Taylor, and I am a independent scholar who received my PhD in the Theology and Religious Studies program from the University of Kent. And I was just perusing this player's guide for Chrono Trigger, an almost archetypal mid-90s SNES era RPG. It's been called one of the best games ever made, but what's also important about it for our purposes here is the apocalyptic elements present. So, how about you stay with me for just a little bit and we'll talk about some stuff. Apocalyptic imagery is suffused in video games as a whole, and a particular subgenre of video game that certainly utilizes looming apocalyptic futures is in the fan-designated Japanese RPG, or JRPG. My particular interest is the type of apocalypses encountered in two of the most famous JRPGs of the 16-bit gaming era, Chrono Trigger and Earthbound. These two SNES, or Super Nintendo Entertainment System, titles have been consistently regarded as the greatest JRPGs ever made, even into the present day. And while they may be quite different in overall mood, pixel art style, and story, they both deal with some similar themes. Future apocalypses that can only be stopped through time travel, hibernating alien harbingers of doom, and the chosenness of the main heroes for the salvation of reality. Maybe a type of messianism. For Chrono Trigger, an ancient alien, Lavos, has been dwelling deep in the earth until the appropriate time, 1999 AD, the so-called Day of Lavos, wherein he will shower the world in fire and brimstone. The player character is able to travel to the distant future after this event happens, seeing the ashes of the world and also giving hope to the few huddled humans left, stuck as they are in rusting, decrepit dwellings, subsisting on scraps. In Earthbound, Gigas is the culprit, an alien tasked with silencing the universe after humans gain psychic powers. He waits in a secret lair in the past. In the game's present, the player learns that in 10 years, he ends everything. In both games, then, players in the contemporary learn of a past where harbingers of doom dwell, and this doom is a future that the player is given the chance to upset. And importantly, the player is told that their character is crucial for stopping this future from happening, perhaps delivering the slight messianic patina. Chrono is considered, quote, important to the space-time continuum, and Ness, the main character in Earthbound, is told at the start of the game that he is prophesied about. The player, or the party, being chosen is of course a well-worn trope, something expected, and from the repetition of the trope, it may be that picking up on these messianic gestures doesn't really say much about the two games. It may commit the same error that some theologians do when they discover Christic figures in films, extrapolating certain scenes as if these scenes that play with Christic imagery command the interpretation of an entire screenplay. However, when I mention the messianic here, I do not mean to simply point to Jesus imagery, even if that became wholly appropriate. Some scholars, when they speak of the messianic, they mean something related but distinct. Jacques Derrida, playing off the theorist Walter Benjamin, for instance, sometimes means a type of weak messianism that sidesteps particular messianic figures. Derrida speaks of the messianic as a, quote, structure of experience, or, quote, the historical opening to the future, therefore to experience itself and to its language, expectation, promise, commitment to the event of what is coming, imminence, urgency, demand for salvation and for justice beyond the law, pledge given to the other, inasmuch as he or she is not presently present or living, end quote. Or, as Michael Levine writes in his A Weak Messianic Power, we may think of what Benjamin terms hunchback possibilities. Quote, what remains unactualized stays with us, remaining not merely as a lingering echo, but as a secretly insisting appeal. Some, like Levine, are more interested in psychoanalytic possibilities in the messianic, but perhaps we can still speak of the temporal in a more straightforward manner, of how time can be opened to a separate order, how historical energies can be released. This isn't merely then about a coming present, but ways that the present can be remade or repositioned because a coming future, quote, compromises the prestige of the present, as John Caputo, a well-known Derrida interpreter, puts it. The messianic for Derrida, as a structure of experience, means that experience runs up against the other and encounters what cannot be anticipated, a reminder of contingency. And this is evident when traveling to the past, where the present/future, that place where the gained messiahs may rest, seemed inevitable. But that inevitability couldn't anticipate the coming of the protagonist. Neither could those possible futures, contingent as they are on the past, those post-apocalyptic futures, escape that contingency on something to come. The future for Chrono Trigger and Earthbound is contingent, of course. The coming future can never be anticipated precisely because it is remade through the past. It would be cheeky of me to call this utopic. But any hope for a utopia isn't found in a futural messiah, but precisely in a figure that has already come, that knows what the coming future is intimately.